Yo, 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 what's up, y'all? It's your boy Big Mike in the house. Swish for real. How y'all living? I got my co-host with me, Boogie by Boogie. How you living, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Enjoying this nice fall weather we get for about a week or two. The grass quit growing, so I don't have to mow it as often. Kind of getting like top of my head. It's nice and just right, non-existent. So
Same here. And other than that, how's everything on your side of the planet?
doing really well, really well.
Gotcha. Guys, another gentleman. He's been on quite a few times, maybe two or three. This is your third time coming on.
Third time, lucky
Man,
three.
a blessing, man. Earl K. Sneed, how you living, man? How things on your side of the planet, man?
I'm good, other than needing a haircut. I think I grew out whatever Boogie Bob lost. No, everything else is good on my end. Just enjoying the off season right now.
Facts. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, man, you went to Oklahoma, correct? Is that
I
where
did.
you basically got what made you get into like the ideal of journalism? It's just for the audience.
Yeah, I did three sports growing up: football, basketball, and track. And then I tore my left hamstring my last year in high school, and the
Mm,
colleges stopped recruiting me. I had recruitments to SMU, TCU
mm.
growing up, and
What
then I
sport?
tore my hamstring. What was that?
What sport?
For football and track.
Nice. So you was a
Track
speedster.
I was. Track was my number one sport. Football was just giving me the strength and conditioning for track season.
Oh, what was your position in football?
Wide receiver.
I figured that. So you
I
got
was
them
wide
hands.
receiver and free safety, but mainly wide receiver.
So
The
which one you like
one-handed
more, free
catch by
safety or
Earl Sneed.
right?
Yeah, but my hands were really inconsistent. Like if I burnt past you, if it was an over the shoulder catch, if it was leaping, I always made these incredible one-handed catches. But if it was just like a timing route, it would go right through my hands.
And what high school you
Yeah.
went to?
I went to Arlington Bowie.
Oh yeah, you did say that
Oh,
the last.
Arthur Bowie. So
Nice.
you
Yeah.
had the OBJ hand. The OBJ hand. If it
If
or
it was a one-handed catch, I would always have like highlight reel catches, and then if you came back to me on the next possession, something was across the middle, and I was going to get hit by a linebacker, it would bounce right off me. So,
Dang.
but
the,
if
the
I could stay,
Cowboys had a receiver like that, Roy Williams. If you threw it directly at him, he couldn't
right,
catch it. If you threw it away from his head, away from his body, he'd snag it like it was a
right.
piece of candy.
That's how it was. If I could extend my hands at all, I could have some amazing catches, and I
Yeah,
could just run past everybody.
I have one last question for you too. Out of all the people you interviewed in your life, which one was your favorite interview?
Wow. Well, I will break this down into two parts.
Gotcha.
Um, Dennis Smith Jr. was one of my favorite guys to interview, just
Yeah.
because he was raised by a single father, and you don't see that a lot. And
Wow.
that was the reason why he always had Junior on the back of his jersey, not
Hmm.
just D. Smith. But just hearing how he lit up whenever he talked about his relationship with his dad,
Yeah,
that was kind
yeah.
of special to me. Um,
Now for real, man. That's
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, a guy I'd never got to interview, but he was my favorite player growing up, and I got a chance to tell him he was my favorite player, but I approached him at the wrong time in the wrong place. Was Reggie Miller?
What?
Yeah, and the Mavericks had a game in Salt Lake City, and TNT had the game, and Reggie was calling the game, and I finally got my chance to tell him how much I looked up to him, but I did it in the men's bathroom, so like that probably wasn't the best place to tell him. And I was like, man, Reggie, everybody used to call me Little Reggie, and I used to wear your number growing up. He's like, oh, really? As he washed his hands and walked out of the
Dang.
restroom. So I never got a chance to interview him, but he was my favorite player growing up, and I at least got a chance to tell him.
That's a dope story, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing it with us. I wanted to ask those last time we had you on, but I was like, the show was a little late, so we just tried to move her straight along.
I
But thanks,
understand.
man. I appreciate that. That's good information for the audience to know about.
Yeah.
So our first topic, man, maybe you had a chance to speak to this guy in general, Spud Webb. Your thoughts on Spud Webb? Because we want to do a deep dive in there. He had a lot of businesses here in Dallas too, and I specifically remember that he had a barbershop right at I think it was in Redbird Mall that he had that barbershop. They've been there for a while. Uh, Earl, have you had a chance to really kind of go over his lifespan in basketball and what he did
Yeah,
for the community in
yeah.
Dallas?
2010, when the NBA All-Star Game was in Dallas, I got a chance to interview him then. And ever since then, because we have a lot of mutual friends, a lot of my mentors are really close to him. We always talk, and he's always been a good guy to just kind of talk to, not talk about anything basketball related, but whenever we've had basketball discussions, it's always been awesome. And just the respect that I have for him, one as a basketball player, but also as a man. You talked about everything he's done in the Dallas community. He's done so with the African American community in Dallas also. And now you see him in his post-playing days, president of basketball operations with the Texas Legends.
Yep.
He's always stayed close to the game, whether it's as a mentor or coach to young players growing up in Dallas. But he's always been gracious and respectful and giving me the time when he didn't have to and giving me interviews when it wasn't scheduled. So he's always been a great guy. And I'll always remember what he did 1986 in the slam dunk contest. Any guy that can beat Dominique Wilkins in a slam dunk contest and do so. I know they list him now at 5'7". He was 5'6", I think, at the time.
Dang.
Any guy at 5'6" that can beat Dominique Wilkins in the slam dunk contest, and he got two perfect scores in the final round. He got two perfect 50s in that championship round in order to win the slam dunk contest. I think that's awesome. And looking at his stats, I never think about this, but his best seasons statistically came in Sacramento, not when
Oh,
he was
wow.
with the Hawks. So if you go back and look at those 4 seasons in Sacramento, he averaged in double figures all of those seasons. He had one season where he averaged 16 points a game and played
Dang.
78 games. He played 82 games twice in his career at 5'6". Like, that takes a lot on the body. So he's a tremendous guy. He was a tremendous player. And everything he's done in his post-playing career has been awesome.
And the fact that him and Dominique Wilkins were on the same team at the time that they had the dunk
Right.
contest, that put the icing on the cake for them, man.
Yeah, and actually, Dominique's brother was also in that championship. Well, he was also in that slam dunk
Gerald
contest.
Wilkins, wasn't it?
Yeah, Gerald Wilkins.
Oh,
Yeah, he was.
yeah, I forgot.
So
Who was
he
he
beat
playing for at
both
the time?
Wilkins boys in that slam
Golly.
dunk contest.
I know that the fact that he, like you said earlier, had a lot to do with the community here as far as being an ambassador for a lot of things, man. He's has his own enterprise that he's been working, and the barbershop was one of the main things. I had an opportunity to go to that barbershop one time. I didn't get my hair cut there because at the time I was cutting my own hair because I'm a pretty good barber. But I had a chance to go in there and I was looking for him, but he wasn't there. But one of my friends worked there for a while, and it was one of the nicest barbershop I ever been in. It was a lot of homeliness to it, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I got to give him his reverence for that barbershop, man, because it brought communities together there. It was really cool to be in there.
he's a
Yeah,
high class guy, man. Anything affiliated with him is going to be done decently and in order.
no facts. Anything else you want to add to it?
Just I just appreciate him always welcoming me at events, and I will say this about him because he supports a lot of my mentors, whether it be
Mm,
Clarence Hill or whether it be John Jock Taylor. Anytime they have stuff that's unrelated to sports, if they're doing events, he always shows up, always. So like
nice.
he's really involved with the media just as much as he was a player.
That's dope. Dope.
Yeah.
Boogie Bob, man, your thoughts on Spud Wells. Give us your deep dive on his career and what he's done for the community here in Dallas, Texas. And
Well,
give in mind that they say he was from Dallas, but I
Yeah.
think he was more so in Wilma Hutchins for the most
Yeah.
part.
Wilma. That's it.
well, first off, welcome back to the show, Earl K. Sneed in the house.
Anytime you guys need me,
We love having you on.
No,
appreciate it.
facts.
And being a fellow Boomer Sooner, that's just extra. That's extra icing
Okay,
on
so
the
now I'm,
cake.
I'm a Longhorn fan, so it ain't got to be too many Boomer Sooners.
Well, well,
Man.
we might have to get a new host if you're a Longhorns
Hey.
fan.
Well, I think they're going to do pretty good this season, so he's going to get the bragging rights.
Yeah, bragging rights for the next 50 for till the next 50-year championship. Uh, Earl, you hit it right on the head. I actually, and I need to find a picture and send it to you, Mike. I stopped Spud Webb. He didn't have to stop and talk to me. He's on the concourse in the first level, and he graciously took not just one but two pictures with me, and talked with me for a few minutes. And you know, uh, that's unusual. Star players, unless they know you, they don't just stop for an ordinary fan. And yeah, I mean, maybe they've some of them have seen me on the jumbotron, but even then, it's he was very gracious, just like Earl said.
Yeah.
And you're right, Wilmer Hutchison X. Uh, by the way, the slam dunk contest he won was in Reunion Arena,
Yeah.
1986. Homeboy,
D-Town?
homeboy in front of his home crowd, and
Facts.
you should see some of the video of those dunks and the crowd reaction, even the players' reaction. And another interesting statistic: 1986. Not only did they host uh, the All Star in the slam dunk, but 1986 was Reunion Arena hosted the Final Four that year.
Wow.
And I still have a poster from that. So he competed in 3 slam dunk contests. So uh, he was 4th in voting for Rookie of the Year.
Oh, nice.
So I don't think people probably remember that he was in the running for Rookie of the Year. He played 12 seasons. His scoring average was 9.9, 2.1 rebounds, and 5.3 assists. So, modest not numbers, but decent. His career earnings was 8.4 million. He's made more money outside of basketball than he made in basketball. And as Earl K. Sneed pointed to, he had one of his best years in Sacramento. In fact, in 94-95, he was first in the league in free throw percentage,
Woo.
94+%.
Dang.
So
He was not missing anything.
shout out to the Wilmer Hutchison's folks. And he is a pillar in the community, but he's a statesman. He's a statesman for what players can be after their career, and that's why I bring up his career earnings, because his impact after his career, post career, are much more impactful than what money he earned. And we hear about all the athletes that made bukus of money and went broke, but we don't hear enough about the athletes who pour back into their community. Like we talked last week about Junior Bridgman and owning all the food franchises. So props Spud Webb, and uh, he is just he's very gracious, very nice. I mean, he didn't have to even talk to me. He's just a very nice guy.
Yeah, and
Good dude.
born 1963, so he kind of went through a lot when it comes to all the civil rights movements that was going on at that time. It wasn't too hard in Dallas at the time, but I can think that his parents may have had some issues as being colored people. I hate to say the word color, but
Right.
it is what it is.
And,
And
and playing,
also,
playing
Mhm.
in Atlanta, he was still facing those civil rights battles.
Very
Yeah,
true.
in the 80s for sure. And also, he grew up in poverty. So I think that's one of the main reasons why he gave back to a lot of the people in his community to show them that hey, you can be something, even if you're not an athlete, just always try to get back as much as you can.
So if there's a way to contact him, would love to hook him up with your coach from North Dallas,
Oh
Lamont.
yeah.
Yeah,
I,
that would be really cool for him to meet Spud Webb.
I'm
Yeah.
a Facebook friend with him. So if I need to reach out, let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the North Dallas High School basketball team will love to see Spud Webb,
In
man. That'd be
fact,
cool.
whenever you post this, I will tag him on Facebook so he sees this.
For sure, for sure.
So,
Anything else on Spud Webb?
That's it for me.
That's it, man. We'll move on to the next subject, and we're gonna swing it back over to you, Earl, man. It's been one of the craziest WNBA seasons to date, man, and there's so much going on. There's so much going on between the idea that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are just these two enemies, which they really are not. They're just something that drums up interest in
right.
the WNBA. And the thought process of the NBA is not the WNBA is not making a lot of money, which is true. I get that understanding it's being propped up by the NBA, but that's a whole another subject. But the season itself has been kind of up and down. There's only a couple teams that really making a name for themselves. And I was hoping that the Dallas Wings would be one of those teams that make a name for themselves with Becker's there. You know what I mean? She's doing her thing and she's hooping like crazy, even though she was hurt for a few games.
Yeah.
But the season is about to wrap up, and about September 11th was the last regular season game. I know you've been kind of chiming in on what's going on with the WNBA, Earl. What are your thoughts on the season so far, and who do you think is going to become the WNBA champion?
Well, as we speak, the Aces have won 12 in a row. Um,
Jeez.
right. Before that happened, I would have said Minnesota. I think Minnesota's had the best season. I think Nafisha Collier is the MVP in my book. Uh,
Mm,
but Asia Wilson and what the Aces are doing the last 12 games, I don't think anybody wants to see them right now.
mm,
You mentioned Paige Beckers. I think that's the future of the WNBA. Anytime you have 44 points and your team has 80, you have more than half of the team's points, and you lost by one because Plum hit the buzzer beater, so you lost 81 to 80. But you had
mm,
44 of your team's 80 points. I think if they can support her in any way, then the Wings have a superstar with Beckers, and obviously they have Enrique, but they have to get some bigs, I think, to kind of support her. But you mentioned talking about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. I think that dynamic, as much as we don't want to talk about it, I think is a racial dynamic that could boost the popularity of the WNBA, kind of
mm.
like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird
Larry Bird,
in the
yeah.
'70s in the NBA. I think that's only going to draw intrigue and attention to the league. And although like they don't necessarily have the rivalry that we want to have with those two because they've played in college. They've played in big games in the Final Four, and now they're both in the WNBA. I think just that interest in being in Chicago and being in Indiana, that's going to draw attention to the league.
Let me go bring it back to the Dallas Wings, though. You said they were needing a big. And what was the issue with Liz Cambage at the time that she was with the Mavs? 'Cause she was a really good big. So I don't
She
know
was
what
a
happened.
great big. She was a great big, but uh, I don't think she really wanted to be here, honestly. Um, I think if she had been in a different market, she would have stayed in the States. But also, I think she wanted to go back overseas. I
Mm,
think she feels more comfortable there. But the Wings weren't necessarily winning whenever she was here, although she was doing a lot of production. Uh, but I think she was dealing with a lot in her personal life and also
yeah.
dealing with a lot on the court.
Yeah. Now I was a big fan of hers for whatever reason, man. I don't know why she drew my attention. Like maybe because she was just a good big player that we
Yeah.
needed. So I was like, why is she?
I think the pressure started to get to her because she had some plays that I would consider kind of dirty uh,
Hmm.
towards the end of her time in Dallas. But also, I just don't think she wanted to be here.
Yeah, that's sad. So you the Aces winning it for the WNBA championship this year?
I don't know. Like if you had told me before the last 12, 13 games, I would have said Minnesota. And then Collier got hurt, and now she's coming back. But the way Asia Wilson is looking right now, she's so dominant, and the Aces look unbeatable the last 3 weeks, I would say. So if those two teams meet in the finals, then I'm not going against Asia Wilson ever.
Mm.
But I think if it ends up being, say, a New York and the Lynx again, like it was last year, then I would pick the Lynx to win. I think they're motivated by their loss last year, and they just look like a different team this year.
So in comparison, this is my last question for you. Are they comparable to the Rockets, not the Rockets, but the Comets back in the day with Cheryl Swoops and Cynthia
Oh,
Cooper?
that team had so many Hall of Famers. Like, you had Sarah, you had Cheryl Swoops,
Cynthia Cooper.
Cynthia Cooper, you had Tina Thompson. Like
Yep.
that team was just, and I don't know why that team doesn't have a franchise in Houston now. Like I don't,
Oh,
that
they're
franchise
getting
doesn't have
one.
a team there.
They're getting one. They applied for an expansion, and so
Yeah,
they're on the list to be one of the expansion teams.
they've applied before though, so like I don't know why the team didn't get the support in Houston. Their attendance wasn't all that great, even though they won the first two WNBA titles, first four WNBA titles. Um, that team was really special. So I'm not going to compare any team to them. Uh, I don't think a team has that many Hall of Famers to really. And that team was kind of heavily loaded. Like it was at the beginning of the league, so they had a lot of talent that the rest of the league didn't have.
Yeah.
So no one compares to the comics to me. But I feel like the league is very has a lot of talent that's spread out right now that um, each team can kind of compete at the top. You know, of those top 8 teams that are going to make the playoffs, I would say the top 4 to 5 have a chance of winning it all.
Yeah. And Houston Comets, man. If it wasn't for Cheryl Swoops and Cynthia Cooper, I don't think they would be what they were. But I'm a big Cynthia Cooper fan, though.
Yeah,
Cynthia Cooper was a
it's hard
hooper,
not to
man.
be.
And she was so humble about it. So
She
I was like,
was.
I love that
She
woman
was.
right there, man. Yeah. Boogie Bob, your thoughts on the WNBA season, man? It's about to wrap up again. September 11th is the last regular season game. Your thoughts on the season so far and who you got winning the WNBA championship?
Well, I see that Earl's done his homework.
I watch a
He's
lot.
done his research.
I watch a
Uh,
lot. I'm going to watch the Wings game whenever we wrap up tonight.
Yes,
uh,
sir.
it's going to sound like I'm name dropping again. I guess I am. Last year after the Wings game, I got a picture with Cheryl Swoops, and so
Nice.
did
What?
Wild Dog.
Nice.
So, and I'm 6 foot tall, and she's half inch to an inch taller than me.
Wow.
Uh, but she was so gracious. She's like, a lot of people would want a picture, security and run it. She's like, I gotta go. She was not. She's. I gotta go pee. Not. I gotta go to the restroom. I gotta go pee. But she still stopped to take a picture with me. So,
She was a
so
Louisiana girl, right? Or she is a
Yeah.
Louisiana girl. Yeah,
yeah.
she's
Cheryl
not
She.
going
Swoops,
to hold
I
that
thought
back.
she was from Texas, no?
Was she?
Yeah, I think so. I'll have
Okay.
to do some
I
Yeah.
know.
digging
She.
there.
Well, she. I don't know this year if she's involved with the Wings, but last year I know she was. She was involved, just like Nancy Lieberman is an announcer. Which I'm gonna bring it back to Boomer Sooner. Ron Thulin, the game announcer, color commentator, Oklahoma guy, broadcaster for KOC, not KOC on TV, but he was on the news as a sportscaster, a sports anchor when I was in high school,
Nice.
and I reached out to him, tried to get him on the show. He said after the season he's going to try to make some time. So Ron, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the show. But Ron Thulin is one of the TV announcers for them.
And
Oklahoma
for
boy.
Cheryl Swoop, she was born in Brownsville, Texas. So yeah, she's a Texan.
Okay, Brownsville.
Yeah.
And more to what Earl was saying about the 44 points. Uh, I I don't remember the exact percentage, but Paige Becker shot more than 50%. I want to say she shot like 60% that game.
She shot over 80% in that game.
80%.
I
She
think
didn't
she
take
was
she did not take
17.
40 shots to get 44
Right. I
points.
think she was 17 of 21 in that game.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Yeah.
yes. And that's my point. She scored more points and had more rebounds her rookie year than Caitlin Clark. The only statistic that Caitlin Clark has on her is assist, and I
Mm.
think that's because the Wings just don't have as many shooters. Uh, but Paige has broke every record that Caitlin Clark set last year. So the two of them will go all the way back to their freshman year in college. Uh, and I don't know, it after last night's trade of Micah Parsons, everybody's like, "Are we going to keep Cooper? Or are we going to keep Page?" But I'll tell you, there's the Wings only had two players come back this year from the previous year. Tara McGowan, who they've now cut, and Enrique Ongawale, uh, who's had her worst season. But I, if I'm GM, they've gone with the youth movement. They let Satu Sabali go, who was a great
She was great.
forward,
Yeah.
and they let also Natasha Howard go, who was also a really good forward.
Yeah.
So, uh, you know, Arika's got a tradable contract. I would see if I couldn't get at least a veteran power forward. The center they got from Seattle, uh, Lee Eru.
She
Uh,
has good touch.
she does, and she plays the kind of game the coach wants to play. She can, McGowan was good if you want to space either and play half court, but Eru, she can run the floor, she can block, she can hit the 3-point shot.
Yeah.
I kind of like her game, so
I
they
do
got a
too.
lot of growth. Uh, and they're extremely young. I don't think people realize there's been a couple games where they started 5 rookies.
Right. I watched that game.
And, and I mean, I don't remember her first name, but James, she went off. And Maddie Sechrist was injured that game.
I like her too.
They've got some young talent from last year's draft that could really pay off. And here's the fact: they won 9 games last year with a veteran-laden roster with Natasha Howard and Satu Sabli and McGowan and Enrique, and they only won 9 games. And this year they almost half the roster is rookies, and they've won 9 games. So it tells me you didn't really lose. You lost some great experience because Natasha Howard's having a really good year. And a little bit more about Aja Wilson that Earl was talking about. They showed a graphic. I think it was maybe during the Wings game because they were asking uh, Nancy Lieberman who they would give the MVP to. And there was a debate. They said a month ago it was Nafis Collier. No,
Yeah.
hands down. They said if you look at recent, well, I said Aja Wilson. They put up their stats, points, rebounds, and assists. They're both averaging, like Aja's averaging 25 points a game, and Nafis is 24. But Aja's almost averaging almost 10 rebounds a game, and she's getting just as many assists. So,
and 2 blocks.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't, you know, there's no defense really in the league for her. And about Liz Cambridge, she was having trouble. The Wings came from Tulsa, who had come from another city. I think it was Detroit. So there was the organization when they were in Tulsa and Cambridge, there was some of this. So before they ever got to Dallas, uh, there she wanted to go back home, and I think she got traded to LA. But yeah, the Vegas Aces. So what I put three teams down. The Lynx started off so hot and then had some injuries. So, the Lynx have won three of the last four championships. They lost
Mm,
last year to the Liberty. Uh, don't count out the Aces, and definitely New York Liberty with Anesco uh, and Brianna Stewart is on the Liberty.
Yeah,
Uh, they're getting healthy. So whoever that whoever that seeding matchup, one of those three teams is going to have to play one of the other two,
right.
mm,
and so the seeding could come in favor for the Lynx not having to play either the Aces or Liberty. If the Aces and Liberty have to play each other, then the Lynx maybe have a better shot. But my prediction is it'll be a Lynx Liberty rematch for. We got tired of Golden State, Cleveland for 4 straight years. Well, Lynx Liberty have played each other for 4 straight years.
dang.
So this would be their fifth time to meet for the title.
So I do want to give a quick shout out to Sue Bird for getting that statue in Seattle. Man,
It's a
salute to
great
you.
statue too.
Yeah, it
Great
was really,
statue.
really good. And I also want to add this to Paige Beckers, and I'm trying to want to give you a little nickname. We want to call you PBB, and it's PBB2 or Paige Buckets Beckers. So you getting them buckets, man. PBB, Paige Buckets Beckers. So you're here the first on Swish for real. I'm sorry about that, Bob. Go ahead.
But that's fine. We all about the nicknames here. Earl may not have heard this one, but when the Mavs traded for Gafford, I called Gafford and Lively the Smash Brothers.
They both be dunking on everything,
They'll
smashing
both
it.
be dunking. We went from the Splash Brothers to the Smash Brothers.
It
Mhm.
fits. It definitely
Yeah,
fits.
I should copyright or get a T-shirt with that on there with their pictures, but it never seen. But Buckets Becker,
Page Buckets Beckers. So let me ask you this question, Bob, and we can move on to the next subject. What could make, because the Sky, they're 12th in their division, and the Wings of 13th. I mean, they're last, both of them in last place in their divisions, though, East and West. What could make these teams better, and particularly the Sky for this particular conversation? What can they do better? Because they're 9-29, that's bad. And then the Wings are 9-30. So what? Again, focusing on the Sky, what they need to do to get them over the hump and get them at least to
well,
like top five.
they need a true point guard. That's what the Sky need. Reese fills their role. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Sophie Cunningham with Chicago before she got traded to Indiana?
Uh, she was, I believe, and now she's
So
hurt for the season.
yeah, she's hurt. She's out for the season. Uh, they could use a big, but
They have Cardosa.
Hmm.
Not
yeah.
no,
And what's funny about that is they had a ESPN did one when Cardosa and Reese and all of them were getting ready for the Olympics, and they were like the top three players that they were mentioning. So yeah, they've got some size and some talent up front. They just don't have a true point guard that can get them the ball, or they don't have really good 3-point shooting. So I think that's where. And to the Wings' credit, they realized that this season wasn't going to be theirs, and they've dealt some players for draft picks, future draft picks. So draft pick in the WNBA doesn't quite go like a draft pick in the regular NBA. But still, the draft capital is still draft capital. And I think they've got like 2 first-round picks next year and 2 the following year.
yeah,
So uh, they can add or go buy whatever they want. But as far as the Chicago Sky, they need a good not an average point guard, but a good point guard. One that has we've talked about gravity on the show before. Someone who draws attention so that Cardoso and Reese can get more open.
Gotcha. My last question and move on to the next subject. What does the WNBA have to do to get more viewership? I know they're growing and they got the contract that they're coming up with as far as the new, um, what you call it, the TV contract. They're making a lot of money. So what do they need to do in regards to getting more people to watch the game?
Well, they already have it in a sense. Uh, they filled up the AAC twice when Caitlin Clark was supposed to come and didn't even play. And 70% of the arena, I would say, was young girls.
Mm,
Uh, if you went the year before Caitlin Clark or Reese came into the league, it was basketball heads and the old guys that just appreciated passing and shooting and scoring and the viewership is completely done a 180. It's gone from just old basketball heads to it's like girls want to see other girls succeed.
yeah.
And so it's kind of like we used to say in church, if you get one kid, you get three attendees. Because if you get the kid, then the parents have to bring them there. So then by default, you got the parents as well. So the fact that, a lot of the WNBA players can be runway models and you're seeing them use the social media, especially Sophie Cunningham. I don't know if you watch much TV, but in the last 4 weeks, Sophie Cunningham's been on like 2 or 3 different commercials. So just the exposure and just it's the TV contract will take care of itself. Attendance is already taking care of itself. But when you start getting young girls and teenagers watching and wanting to go see their favorite idol, now you have that you have something that's just going to domino effect.
So yeah, that'll be good for the WNBA because I think more eyes you get on them, the better. On to the next subject, and Earl, we're going to swing it over to you.
Mhm.
In light of the fact, and I do want to ask you this question. Um, this European player played for Dallas, and we're talking about the top European players now. And I just want to kind of get this out of the air real quick. What was your thoughts on that trade from Luka going from Dallas to the Lakers?
I didn't like all of the optics afterwards and all of the kind of slanderous things that were said about him in
Mm,
terms of his weight or that he enjoyed drinking when he wasn't playing and stuff. Or, I mean, saying that he weighed 260 pounds, he was still averaging 38 and 8
and the dude is 6'8". You know what I mean?
and
So
6'8". But we've seen him already get his revenge bod and appear in men's health. Uh,
yeah.
I'm expecting a really big year out of Luca this year because he has all of the motivation he could ever have going into this season. Um, if it was in terms of what Nico was saying in terms of defense wins championship, I can get that. I think they could have gotten more in return or put out there for the rest of the league to try to compete if you're trying to move Luca. But I think there was more behind the scenes that made Luca have a one-on-one conversation with Rob Pelinka to get that deal done behind closed doors.
Mm,
Um, but I feel like the Mavericks could have gotten more in return. Even with Bob, you mentioned Parsons getting traded from the Cowboys. Cowboys got 2 number one picks back and a former Pro Bowler in return.
Yeah.
So like, and even Jerry said we have to stop the run. I think that line was similar to Nico saying defense wins championships. Uh, but if you just focus on getting the 2 number one picks back, in addition to a former Pro Bowler, he got something in return.
mm,
No, those 2 number one picks aren't going to help you this year unless you trade them to get a player who can contribute right now. Um, but I felt like the Cowboys got something in return that the Mavericks didn't. That also put a 3-year window on the Mavericks to try to win. While you have Anthony Davis, now you have Kyrie Irving under contract, and they lucked out by getting the number 1 pick and getting Cooper
Cooper.
Flag. But I feel like the Mavericks have to win in a 3-year window now because of that.
So I know the Euro basketball championship is now playing in Euro ball,
Right.
and
Right.
we're talking about
Yeah.
some of the best European players that the NBA has to offer so far. If you had your top 5 European players, who would be those top 5 in regards to that?
One, because I'm just a fan of his game. Uh, the father Sabonis, Arvydas Sabonis.
Yeah.
And the son played similar to him, but he's not nearly the passer that Arvydas Sabonis
Oh,
was.
Beatles was a beast, man. I think we talked about him before, but
Yeah.
jeez, he was so good.
I got a chance to cover Peja during the championship year 2011, so I have to say Peja. I never saw Drazen
Petrovic.
Petrovic.
Drazen,
Yeah.
yeah, Pekovic. I heard he was a phenomenal shooter. I never got a chance to see him, but I got to see Peja, and every time they would do that shooting around the horn, he would go 25 or 25 all the time. And he would lose to Dirk. Well, Dirk would lose to him every single time. So I have to put Peja in my top 5. Let me see. That's a really good debate. I have to put Luka in there. I feel like Luka making the All NBA team 4 times before he was 25, before he was 26. I have to put Luka in there. I've got to get some more bigs besides Sabonis or some point guards. God, some Spaniards.
You got Puerto Ricans
Ricky
too. If you think
Rubio.
about it.
Well,
Tony Parker.
Tony Parker. Put Tony Parker in there.
Ginobili.
And then, yes, Ginobili. Also, Pau Gasol. I think that's 6.
Yeah. So if you had right now, 2025, currently, if you had to do a starting 5 for your European squad, who would those starting 5s be for the current NBA players?
Okay, I'll go Arvydas Sabonis. Pau Gasol can play the 4.
But
I'll
Pau
go.
Gasol is not playing, is he? I'm talking about current players.
Oh, current players. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, obviously, I've got to go with the Joker, Nikola
Yep.
Jokic, at
Is that your
center.
center?
Yeah, he's at my center.
Gotcha.
I can't think of a big right now.
And you
I
got to
got
keep
you
in
covered.
mind
I got you
that
covered, Earl.
I was gonna say you keep in mind that Antetokounmpo is from France.
Okay, that's he's from Greece.
Yeah.
We'll put him in there. We'll play him
Oh,
at the
Greece, my
4.
bad, my bad.
We'll put
Sorry
him.
about that.
We'll put him at the 4.
That's the 4.
Luka is capable of playing the 3, but I'll put him at point guard.
Okay, shoot point guard.
Who's a good 2? I can't think of any European swingman playing right now that can play the wings.
Isn't Franz Wagner? He's a wing, isn't he? Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's German
Both
or French.
Wagner
One of those two.
boys. But yeah, no, I would put Mo Wagner. Franz Wagner, I would put in my starting 3.
And then you
But
have
I
Larry
need a 2
Markkinen.
guy. Who? Larry
Larry
Markkinen?
Markkinen, Swedish.
Oh man, he's killing too in Euroball. He's averaging like 40 a game. Okay, maybe I can put Laurie Marketing at 4. Who did I say before? I said Jokic.
You
So
got
I'll
Luka
go
Jokic at
Marketing.
center. You got Antetokounmpo at power forward.
Giannis can play the 3.
Okay,
I put Luka at the point. I still don't have a 2 guard.
2 guard. Let's see who did you get for a 2 guard.
Don't need one.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, so I'm just gonna have a lineup of all 6'8".
Oh, no. Shea Gillis Alexander.
Shay's from Canada.
Yeah.
Shay's from
So
Canada.
That's
You're
not
not from
still.
Europe.
Europe. You're
That's
not
Oh,
North
from Europe.
America.
yeah. You're right. You're right. Dang, I was gonna throw him in there.
I can't think of any European
Guard.
guards.
One of the Bogdanoviches.
Okay. Bogey. I'll put Bogey at the 2.
Okay.
I'm
That's
okay
that's
with
not a
that.
bad squad.
Okay. Yeah, I'll play Bogey off the ball.
Okay, gotcha. So he'll
Oh,
be the 2.
if I,
That's a formidable team, though.
you
That's
know what?
right there.
I didn't even think about it, but I could put Wimby. I
Yeah.
could put Wimby at the 3 and put Giannis at the 2 and put Luca at the point.
And then you got Alfred Sagoon from
Şengün
Turkey.
is my backup big. I don't think he can play any other position besides center, so he's behind Jokic.
Gotcha. And then y'all forget Rudy Gobert and Danny
Another one,
Adjumant
like, the center position is well taken care of.
That's a nice little 5, though. I get it though. So
Well, and
that's
there's
dope.
a guard from France. I forget that got drafted the same year Wemby got drafted.
Yeah. And the year after, they've got some more Frenchmen coming in or have already entered the league, but they haven't arrived yet.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me about what's going to happen in the LA Olympics, because I feel like France is going to be really good in the LA Olympics. Canada is going to be loaded in the LA
Mm.
Olympics. I don't think Team USA is going to finish gold in LA.
What? What they
I
gonna
really
finish
don't.
silver?
I really don't. I think France, I think Canada, and I think USA might be battling for the bronze.
Bronze. Dang. Yeah, heard it here first. I didn't say it. I'm still gonna go for the US, man. We still
Don't
getting
shoot the
buckets.
messenger.
Any other thing you want to add to that European, the best top players from Europe?
I think it just really speaks to how global of a league the NBA is. You
Yeah.
know, if you talk to Dirk, he got into basketball because he was watching the Dream Team in
Mm-hmm.
'92. So Charles Barkley was his favorite player, and Charles Barkley wore 14 in the Olympics. That's why Dirk flipped the numbers and wore 41. So
Wow.
you had Jordan in the Olympics in '92. You had, and I would say Barkley was the best player on that team in the Olympics. But Jordan, Magic, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, Pippen, David
Mm-hmm.
Robinson, all of those guys in
John
investing,
Stockton.
John Stockton, Karl Malone, those guys investing their summer made the league global. So now you're seeing influx of Europeans, even Canadians coming into the league, and they're taking over the league. And I feel like 25% of the league, pretty much 20% of the league, all internationally born players. So that really speaks to how much of an international league it is.
Facts, facts. Boogie Boogie Bob, man. Give me your current top European players that are playing in the NBA, man. Let me know what you're thinking.
Well, I'm gonna tag on for a minute what Earl just said. The '92 and even '96 Olympics, there were like 16 European players in the NBA. And this last Olympics, there was over 100. I think there were like 112 European players in the NBA. So, European players used to be draft and stash, but that's no longer the case. So I'm glad this question came up. It was actually a debate on ESPN about it as far as current players. And so I'm going to start with my kind of pseudo top 10 in the order that I would put them. Uh, Nikola Jokic, Joker, that guy, as Barkley would say.
Nikolai Joker. Call me that, please.
Yeah, he would be number one. Uh, the unicorn, the new unicorn, Wemby, VW as I call him, Victor Wembanyama. Number 3, Luca. Number 4, Giannis. Number 5, Sagoon. Number 6, Franz Wagner, not his brother Mo Wagner, who took,
Yeah.
by the way, took Michigan to the finals against Villanova and Jalen
Wolverines.
Brunson.
I'll tell you a story about that. We were
Okay.
actually in Detroit, and Franz Wagner was still at Michigan, but they came to a game, and Dirk met with him after the game while he was still a student. And
Nice.
that was just, he really idolized Dirk. So they made sure that they met each other while we were in town.
That was
Nice.
awesome. Yeah, that was a 2018 Final Four. So I have Franz Wagner. Then I have Lauri Markkanen, by the way, when the Mavs had the number 9 pick and took Dennis Smith Jr., uh,
DSJ.
they I had a list and we covered it on one podcast. Wild Dog and I was the players the Mavs could have taken instead of Dennis Smith Jr.
They
But
really like marketing.
yeah, it's a long list now, but they really liked Lauri Markkanen and they were just kind of hoping that he would fall to 9 because of his height and his shooting. And they're like, well, he can fill the role and learn from Dirk
Right.
in Dirk's last year. So the Mavs were really, really trying to get Lauri Markkanen. Then one player neither one of y'all mentioned, I'm not sure I'm going to say his name right, but Avadija,
Demi
that got traded from,
Aja. Yeah, I mentioned it.
yeah, they got
Yeah.
traded from
Well, Houston,
from
right? No, he's
Washington.
where is he at now? And
He's in
he's in
Portland.
Sacramento, no?
No,
Portland?
Portland, isn't it?
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, Savonis is in Sacramento. Then our own street clothes, not our current street clothes player, but our former street clothes player, uh, Mr. Glass himself, Christoph Porzingis.
Christoph Porzingis.
I like Porzingis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when he's healthy, he's good, and the guy can shoot.
So let
I
me.
watched him that
Was
year.
he in
He
the
wasn't
same
playing.
when he went to New York? After he left New York, didn't that bring in Lynn, Jeremy Lin? After that,
They played
No,
briefly. They
yeah,
played together briefly. When Melo was out, it was
yeah,
Jeremy Lin.
yeah.
yeah. We definitely got to
And
do a deep dive on Jeremy.
then another guy who you wouldn't think much watching his game because his mechanics and his movement don't speak. Most Europeans are very good shooters and they're very fluid, you know. And of course, they nicknamed because of Ginobili the European set. But for a big guy, Aldama for Memphis,
I like
uh,
Aldana.
yeah, he's shown me some stuff.
They have a lot of bigs. That's what they don't have a lot of guards, but they have a lot of bigs.
Yeah, there's the Bogdanovich is not related.
Right.
Uh, and one retired and one's a shooter. They used to have a lot of guards, but
Yeah,
I just can't remember. There was a French point guard that was drafted not this year but the previous year, uh, who hasn't quite come to fruition. And I think that's if you think about it, it's almost a 180 flip. The Americans always had the Patrick Ewing and
right.
the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Olajuwon wasn't here, but Ewing was from Jamaica, and Olajuwon I think was Uruguay or Congo. They always
Mm.
had a lot of college players, big guys, and now the ECBU, AAU games, college games, high school games. It's all the focus on the point guard who can score and get to the hole. So the emphasis in America is kind of shifted on what they develop. And in Europe, it's the exact opposite. They had a lot of small guys. Uh, you know, Back when Drazen Petrovic was playing, I got to see him play. He was pretty good. Uh, and
Reggie Miller said he is the greatest shooter he's ever seen. That's what Reggie
Sarunas
said.
Marcelonis, Serenas
Well,
Marcelonis was another one.
What
So
about Dudley Shrimp back in the day? He was a
Their left
decent
shrimp,
shooter.
yeah,
one of
Denver
Dirk's
was kind
idols.
of a wing player,
Yeah.
but when you look at shooting guard and point guard, the European guys, they're really good. Uh, they're not necessarily quick. They're not necessarily athletic, but they're good with the fundamentals, and
They
that's
are
what all
great with
European
fundamentals.
players have. And
Yeah.
so, unless they're just a lights out shooter, you're not seeing many of them in the NBA. Whereas the American point guards, they've got handles, they've got speed, they got athleticism, they can hit the three, they can dunk it, you know. So I think that'd catch up. But if you watched any of the European highlights, it's kind of like there's a I'd have to agree with Earl. If the Americans win gold, it's going to be by the skin of their teeth. Somebody's going to have to really step up because it's not that a lack of talent, it's the fact that the talent everywhere else has caught up with them.
So good, yeah. But I feel like the U.S. won just barely this last Olympics. If Steph Curry doesn't get hot, then they don't beat France without that.
Yeah,
So,
Steph
and
Curry just throws on a magical 3-point shooting run. He like, like that gun was just shooting, then he hit that three. I think he hit like four in a row, didn't he, Earl? And
yeah,
the last one he just went, yeah,
and the
kind of
last one was over
like
two
David
guys.
going bye-bye to Oklahoma City. But but the French team has been knocking on the door for several years, and so is Serbia. You know, to tell you how
Canada,
to tell you how talented the European Championship is, Slovenia hasn't even got to the finals uh, in that with Luca.
yeah.
So
Well, the rest of the team's not very good. It's
yeah,
Luca, and
they
then
got some players, but
yeah,
Giannis took one of the teams all the way to. But my point is the French team, the Serbian team, they're loaded, and thank goodness Adam Silver came out and said next year All-Star game will be U.S. versus World. So we'll get a preview of the Olympics next year during the All-Star break.
So let me add a little caveat to this. I remember when Mark Cuban had a statement saying that the U.S. players AAU has kind of ruined American basketball. I get what he's saying because the European players are more fundamental, and we were speaking about European players in general, the top ones. Um, the only thing I would say, as being a former AAU coach, not every kid is like that. A lot of the coaches that I was in contact with, some of them were, not really good coaches. They just focus on one player, and that one player would be the one who kind of dictate what goes on with teams. But most of the teams, and then we can speak about what's his name? He played for Jerome. I forgot his name. He has an AAU program out here in Dallas now.
well,
And I
Jermaine
can say
O'Neal.
Jermaine
Jermaine O'Neal,
O'Neal.
exactly. So I can say for a fact that training is not the issue; it's the fact of the culture is what's really causing these kids, as far as U.S. kids, not to be fundamentally sound for the most part, because we're looking for the highlights, we're looking for all the things that are
Yeah.
not really what most players should be looking for in regards to
They
being
they're looking to
fundamental.
be they're looking to be on a viral video or to be
Exactly.
on ESPN highlight or be on the dun 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 dun. They're looking for the 5 second, not for the 5 year.
Right, and that's why I agree with Mark Cuban on that point. But for the fact that we do have a lot, our athletes are way superior. If we get this right, the mental part of it, then I don't think there's no country
Yeah.
that can deal with USA.
Well, like you said, it's not the coaching because if a kid don't want to be coached, you can yell at them all day long.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Facts.
Anything
Yeah,
else you want to add to that, Bob, as far as the European top players?
I- Well, I think it might be more than 25%, but to me, a basketball purist, you got to love people like Jokic who can pass, dribble, shoot,
Love Jokic, man. Love
you
him.
know, rebound. I like they don't do just one thing. They are exceptional at many things.
And one thing about Jokic that I like too, and this because Chris Webber was a great passer in Michigan, and then when he got to the NBA, he was even a better passer. So only difference between him and Jokic was the athleticism. Jokic, big body, bruised you down low. Chris Webber, big body, bruised you down low, and he was a great passer. But the only difference again was the athleticism. And but Joker, I don't know. If I had to choose, I would still choose Chris Webber because I'm just a fan. But Joker, right? He's a
Well, let
close
me ask
second.
you this. If
Huh?
you had these two players in their prime, Shaquille O'Neal and Joker, who are you taking?
Shaquille O'Neal, man. Cause who's gonna stop the big Aristotle, man? That is no way that I would pick. Joker is good. Don't get me wrong. I love his game, but Shaq is a force to reckon with. He's a phenomenon, man. How you gonna stop that? He's big. He's strong. He's getting every rebounds. He's dunking on anybody. He has no regard for human life. I mean, you
See, and
can't stop that.
you just proved my point. The one thing that very few people talk about in regards to Shaq was his ability to pass,
Hmm.
his ability to pass out of the low post.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
great.
He was. But he
he
had
was a
players
big.
to pass to. I mean, like, yeah, Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, but if you doubled, he had Brian Shaw. He had Big Shot
Kobe
Bob.
Bryant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he had great perimeter shooters around him.
Yeah. And all he needed to do was touch the
Devin
ball.
George,
Yeah. He had a
Dennis
spot.
Scott. Yeah, Dennis Scott, Brian Shaw.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Anything else you can add to that, Bob, before we move on to the next subject?
No,
All right. We're gonna keep it with you, Bob, though. Um, there has been some amazing commercials throughout the years, man. One of my favorite one was LeBron, the swimming pool commercial that he did. It was
That's
like
one of my
he
favorites.
played a
That's in my top three.
that was
That's in
so
my
dope.
top three.
Facts, facts. Bob, what were your best and favorite NBA commercials, whether it be shoes, food, whatever, etc.? What was your favorite NBA commercial or NBA player commercial
well,
that you can think
I
of?
mean, number one is a no brainer, and the three I'm going to give you. Hopefully, I leave some on the plate for Earl, but uh, uh, these all three of these are iconic. Money, it's got to be the shoes. No, Morris, it's not the shoes. Money, it's got to be the shoes. No, Morris, not the shoes. The Spike Lee Michael Jordan commercial still gets talked about. It's the 30 years. That's 30 years now.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just iconic. That's number one. Number two was there's a McDonald's Big Mac sitting on the bench. He goes, "I'll shoot you for it."
Nothing but net.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing but net through the
Is that the
glass,
one where it say
off
over
the
the
ceiling.
bridge? Yeah,
Yeah,
he was shooting
through the
it from
glass,
everywhere.
off the ceiling, bounce off the backboard, nothing but net. And the other player comes in and takes the sitting there eating the, and it's the, it wasn't it Magic and
Magic
MJ that
and
were
Bird.
shooting for it. Yeah,
Magic and Bird, I
Magic
believe.
and Bird, and MJ sitting there eating it.
Right.
So that's iconic. That's an iconic. You know, I think even they ended it off the freeway, down off the bridge, through the, you know, it's just like, and of course, Dude Perfect here in Dallas has made that kind of shot like
Yeah.
famous. And then,
Shout out, dude. Perfect, man.
then the third one, it's not on the level of those two as far as iconic, but those two immediately came to mind. But it was Larry Johnson and Grandmama
Hmm.
when he put on the dress and Grandmama was, you know,
Dunking on any and everything.
Yeah.
Dang, that was some dope commercials too, man. I don't want to say what I think, but you have any more to add to that, Bob?
those are the three that those are my three.
I got
Money,
you, got
got to be the shoes. Money.
you.
It's a pretty
All
good
right,
list.
Earl, what was some of your favorite commercials, man, that
That's a
stood out
really
to
good
you?
list. But three of my favorites, LeBron in the swimming pool, where it was like Grandpa LeBron, little
Yeah,
kid LeBron, and like his uncle. but it was all LeBron. That was a really good one. Um, and the little kid version of him jumps off the diving board, cannonball! Like that's a really good one for his first signature shoe, I think. That one's one of my favorite. Uh, Anyone remember it was a Gatorade commercial where older Michael Jordan is playing against like rookie year Michael Jordan,
Yeah. I
and
remember that.
then at the end of it, North Carolina Michael Jordan comes in. He's like,
Yep.
"I've got next." Like that's one of my favorite ones. And then Kobe Bryant had a really good one. His last year, his retirement year, where all the fans are booing him, and Kobe stops and starts conducting the orchestra, and they start singing, and like Boston Celtics fans stand up and start singing. Like it goes from booing to them cheering and talking about how much they're going to miss him. That's one of my favorite ones. Also, that one, and then Kobe had the commercial where he had Kanye West, Serena Williams, and they're just asking Kobe how to be great, and he's like giving these
Oh yeah.
cliches. He's like, Kanye's like, I'm already the best. Like, how can I go to the next level? And Kobe looks at him, is like, but are you the same animal but a different beast? And Kanye's like, what the F does that mean, Kobe Bryant? That's one of my favorite commercials, bro.
Well, you remember the Little Penny one when he had that little
Oh,
puppet?
yeah. Little Penny with Chris Rock as Little Penny. All of those commercials were great.
Yeah. So speaking of all those commercials, like if you think about the famous shoes, if you had to choose a particular shoe based off a commercial that you watched, what shoe would you choose?
I think Boogie Bob hit the nail on the head with the Mars Blackman and Jordans. Uh, those first Jordans with Mars Blackman, and I think it was the ones, but I think they went up to the fours, the cement fours. My
Mm,
favorite is the 11 with the patent leather, but those Jordan commercials
those are my favorites too, to be
with
honest.
Spike, yeah, those commercials made you want to get the Jordans.
Yeah, those patent leather ones you can wear with just about
Everything
anything.
you can wear that with every. You can wear a suit with some
And
patent
it's
leather heels.
crazy. It's crazy
Earl,
how
didn't
those.
that commercial come out about the same time? Was Do the Right Thing movie that
Yeah,
Spike Lee made?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like it worked out perfect with what Spike was doing with his theatrical releases. Also worked well with the commercials.
Now, what about that Damian Lillard commercial where he was on the phone? He said, "I don't want to be like one of those old school guys who never won a ring," and then he looks over, Karl Malone looking
Yeah,
all sad. Remember that one?
it was funny, but it never made me want to buy a pair of Dames. You know, like
That commercial was dope.
I wanted to be like Mike. So everything that Mike was doing, those commercials made me want to be like Mike even
Be
more.
like Mike.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this question in regards to commercials. And I don't think I've ever seen one, but did the Iceman ever have a commercial? I know he has that dope ass poster with him sitting on a block of ice.
Yeah, Converse.
Yeah.
I think he did like a car rental commercial. I mean, it was minor. I the one and for those watching on the Swish for Real, look through, stream through the videos. There's a posting of the of by Gatorade uh with Luca right after he got traded. One
Oh
where he's
yeah, yeah,
changing
yeah,
the
yeah. When he's got that
one where he's
car, he's
changing the
taking the license
license
plates
plate.
off. Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
then the
pretty
other
good.
one where he's got a towel over his uh and the encryption, if you read it backwards, basically says something. So I mean, I don't recall a Luca commercial. Uh, Props to Mark Cuban in game entertainment. He always had Dirk or Luca and players doing funny videos. But I don't,
Yeah.
in the 6.5 years we had Luca, I don't remember seeing him in a commercial. And then he
Yeah.
goes Hollywood on us, and all of a sudden there's Luca this, Luca that, Luca's
I think
everywhere.
I think some of that is the Jordan brand kind of pushing it.
Gotcha.
Well,
think-
probably LeBron, because LeBron has a production company.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
in Tinseltown.
Yeah, but with Jordan, they have their number one athlete in the number one media market. They got to push him. So
Yeah.
I think that
And the number one jersey sale after he got
Right.
traded. Number
Number
one jersey sale.
Yeah, that we did cover that. And Earl, if you remember, Kyrie being Uncle Drew, he had a
Yeah.
lot of good commercials.
And he had a movie. He had a great movie. That movie, he actually did a great job acting in that movie.
He did.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't done some more because he was a great actor. It was all of the players that were in the movie were great. People don't realize Kyrie was on the soundtrack. He has a song on the soundtrack.
Mhm.
Like he has a music career whenever he gets done playing. And I just saw him on his live stream where he's talking about wanting to be a farmer and be like the world's biggest farmer whenever he gets done playing. Kyrie is a man of many talents.
And the most iconic commercial ever is like Mike. I got to be like Mike. Gotta be like Mike.
Yeah.
I remember that one, man. That was
I
so
wanted to be
iconic.
like
Man.
Mike.
Yeah.
Gatorade has had some amazing commercials.
Man, real talk, man. I really enjoy a lot of those commercials, man. Even the ones that Steph Curry was in, the Kimbe Mutombo was in. It's a lot of great commercials. Shaq commercials, like Papa John's. I mean, like,
With the Kimbe money.
Yeah.
yep. And he's smacking everybody's stuff out
Yeah,
their
I think
hands.
that was a car insurance commercial.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of great commercials that people realize that NBA players did a great acting job and they made the product that even better. Even with the shoes, man, it's like, how do you promote to these people to buy these products? And you use players and those products sell. And like you mentioned, Nike was one of the key commercial for shoes in general, man, and they made a lot of make me want a pair of Jordans. So I
Yeah,
get it.
if you ever get a chance, watch ESPN's Sonny Vaccaro 30 for 30.
That's a really good 30 for 30.
And Brad Pitt's movie about Nike. You
Air.
know, who wrote all the dice.
It's not Brad Pitt, it's Ben Affleck. But Air, it's really good.
Air, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I need to watch that. So,
and I might have the time, but when the Jordan shoes came out, I think it was the first ever $100 shoe.
probably.
Like there were reports. There were reports in some cities where kids were mugging other kids for their shoes.
It was banned by the NBA, so they had to make back that money that they had because the shoe was two-tone. And you couldn't wear two-tone shoes at the time. So the price was basically paying for the fine.
Dang.
Yeah, well, in OU's gym, you know, the athletic center, when they built it, if it wasn't a white sole shoe, you couldn't play.
And that's a good story, man. So I'm gonna have to do some digging on that.
Yeah,
and
go back and watch the movie Air. It's a really good movie.
Facts. All right, our last subject, guys, and we always do a player legacy when it comes to the NBA teams, and this team had some pretty good players, man, from I don't want to mention names right now, but Cleveland Cavaliers, man. They even, well, I'll say one name. They had Shaq. Shaq played for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So we're going to swing it over to you, Boogie, right? Boogie, give us your thoughts on Cleveland and some of the great players that went through that organization.
Well, I hope Earl doesn't pick the same player. You know, Boomer Sooner people, we think smart. You know, we think smart and we think alike.
Also, you saying us Texas can't think?
Well, can you name me a UT player that's played for the Cavaliers?
UT player, University of Texas.
I'm sure there is one.
I can name one for you. Tristan Thompson.
I was about to say that.
Yeah. So I chose Mark Price.
That's a good
Born
choice.
in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, about an hour north of of Tulsa, played for Enid High School.
Enid.
Number 1 recruit in the state of Oklahoma, and went to go play for Georgia Tech. His career stats: 15.2 points per game, 2.6 rebounds per game, 6.7 assists per game. He played 12 seasons. He earned $29.7 million in his earnings. Another little throw out. You know how we're always Mavs Central. Mark Price was drafted by the Dallas Mavericks in the second round.
What?
He was later traded to Cleveland. He was in the first 3-point shootout. In fact, he played in 89, 90, 93, and 94 in the 3-point shootout. Now they call it the 3-point contest. In 93 and 94, he actually won the 3-point shootout. His career percentage, you got to remember when Mark Price was playing, this was through the 80s and early 90s. Not many 3-pointers were taken. His career percentage from 3-point line was 40%. Career percentage, not one season, but for a whole career, 40%. He in 91, 92, he led Cleveland to the Eastern Conference Finals. This was the Jordan years. That team in 91, 92 had Brad Daugherty, Craig Elo, Danny Ferry, Steve Kerr, Larry Nance, Hot Rod Williams. So it was no slouch of a team that he played for there. And his accolades and awards, he was 4-time All-Star. 4 times he got MVP voting shares. This was during Michael Jordan's prime. 4-time All-NBA, once as a first team. And 3 times he led the league in free throw percentage.
He was the beginning of Steve Nash, if you think about it, because him and Steve Nash, to me, had similar careers.
And kind of a little bit of John Stockton.
Yeah.
He was steady. He was glue. But in 91, 92, the Eastern Conference was stacked. You had Ewing in New York. You still had the bad boys in Detroit.
Pacers.
You had Michael Jordan in Chicago.
You said Pacers, yep.
You had a rookie of Shaquille O'Neal in Orlando.
Penny. Yeah.
And so, you know, for them to get to the Eastern Conference Finals in 91, 92, that's saying something, considering who he went up against.
Facts. Is there any other particular players, if you had to choose your top 3 for Cleveland, what would be those top 3?
Well, Brad Daugherty was the North Carolina guy. I liked his game. The Andres Virgil that played with LeBron.
I remember him, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't have stats, but the guy hustled like crazy and rebounded
The weirdest
like
jump
crazy.
shot.
Yeah. I mean, he was like a Dennis Rodman. And I liked, I mean, when Kyrie got hurt, I liked when Matthew Dellavedova came in and started for him.
Okay.
He did his thing, though. Anything else you want to add to that?
Well, you know, we'll be doing more deep dives. So this is our last player legacy, unless we just swing through and go back again. But I'm glad we've done it in our year 2. So, you know, if you missed one before, we've done every team in the NBA. And if you got a favorite team, any Swish for Real listener, go out and listen to our player legacy.
Facts. Earl, you had a chance to, I know, see a lot of the Cleveland games throughout the years. And what kind of caught your mind and your eye when it comes to Cleveland and some of the best players that come through that franchise?
Well, the name I was expecting for Boogie Bob to mention, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, Big Z. He's got his number retired. His number is in the rafters. You know.
Well, I wanted you to eat a little.
Oh, okay. Well, he's not in my top three, I would say. But
Yeah, the Big Z he was a load.
right,
He was kind of the Luke Longley of that team.
right, right. I would say obviously LeBron James, Cleveland, this is for you.
This is
Um,
for you.
when the when one player leads the NBA Finals in points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, and
Dang.
they lose the series, um, I think if anybody besides obviously Jerry West, RIP, was gonna if anyone was gonna be named MVP of the finals on the losing team, I thought that was the year to do it. Um,
Mm,
LeBron James, I felt like he deserved it, but to come back and after what I think I consider 4 years of college when he went to the Miami Heat, he had to learn how to win in Miami, but to come back and bring a title, I think it ended the 52-year curse for the city of Cleveland. He's got to be number one.
yeah. He's
Number
got to be
two,
number one.
and I think about LeBron with the block by James against Iggy Iguodala in that series, but the guy that hit the biggest shot in that series to win Game 7 was Kyrie
Kyrie.
Irving.
Yep.
Uh, so Kyrie's got to be number two to me. Just he was a number one overall pick. He's a champion. He ended up leaving to go to Boston and then Brooklyn before he came to Dallas. But I think he has the signature moment for the franchise with that shot in Game 7.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see a lot of Big C, but Kevin Love and his outlet passes uh, reminds a lot of people of Wes Onfeld. His ability to, and you're seeing it now with LeBron and Luca, their long exchanges when Luca throws that touchdown passes. Kyrie, I would say Kevin Love had the best outlet passes to be able to hit guys streaking down the court in stride. So I would put that big three as my big three for Cleveland.
So let me ask you this question. And you mentioned how Miami taught LeBron how to win. Do you really consider the impact that Pat Riley had on LeBron's decision making and then exposure too? And I can't knock him out of the conversation. Do you think the basically how they ran that franchise, how they were together as far as Miami goes, Pat Riley was the one who beat that drum and made LeBron who he was as far as winning. Could that be said now? Because I know Mike Brown was his coach in Cleveland before he left Cleveland. So
Yeah.
what does that say about the Miami franchise itself?
You hear all the time about heat culture, but it's a real thing, and it starts with Pat Riley and his way. Like even when he was recruiting LeBron, he'll just walk into the room and dump his championship rings and say, "Hey,
Mm,
this is what it's all about. If you want to be a champion, this is the place to come." But even the sacrifice that D Wade had to make to go from because that first year they were taking their time. It would be your turn, now it's my turn between
right.
D Wade and LeBron. And D Wade had to go to LeBron and say, hey, for us to be the team that we have a chance of being, you've got to be the best player on the team. And that was all from the Heat culture for D Wade to understand I can't, even though it's Wade County, I can't be the best player on the team. LeBron's got to reach his ultimate emphasis as a player. He's got to be the best player on this team, and everyone else has to sacrifice. Chris Bosh was the best player in Toronto, but had to sacrifice and become a spacer, a 3-point shooter once he got to Miami to play off of the ball, and no one's playing through him. So I think they just had to learn how to win. And I'll say this, and people can argue with me all they want to. There's no way that I felt like the Dallas Mavericks should have won in 2011
Hmm.
over the Miami Heat. I think the Miami Heat had more talent on the court than the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks had Rick Carlisle, and they had the ability to force LeBron to do something he wasn't comfortable with doing. They made LeBron have to post up JJ Barea, and
Yeah.
at the time, LeBron had no post game. So they dared him to do something he wasn't comfortable with doing, and that's the genius of Rick Carlisle. But I feel like talent-wise, the Miami Heat were more talented than the Dallas Mavericks were at the time.
They
And
they
Yeah,
had
LeBron,
more
that's
talent. They had more talent, but Dallas had more
hard.
heart.
And I was gonna say too,
more heart, yeah,
Earl, in that series again, not Dwayne Wade, but LeBron deferred a lot, man, in
a
that
lot,
series. And
a lot.
I get what you're saying now because right when he needed to be that one to, hey, I'm gonna pull y'all
Right,
to the promised land. Y'all need to come with me. And without the next season with Wade kind of conceding to LeBron,
right,
that gave them the runway to get those championships.
definitely.
And,
And you saw
and
you
Earl,
saw
you
that with
talked about the iconic shot that Kyrie hurt. How about the iconic rebound that Chris Bosh gets so that Ray
for Ray
Allen
Allen.
can hit the
Yeah,
three to
for Ray
win?
Allen. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And
Without that
for Ray
rebound,
Allen, and for Ray Allen to step back behind the 3-point line in the corner without looking down. He's backpedaling whenever Chris Bosh gets that rebound. He never takes his eyes off of the basket. So he was already ready to shoot.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Without that rebound, the Spurs win that game. But that was an
Yeah.
iconic. That shot doesn't exist without Chris Bosh getting the rebound.
definitely.
And
Definitely.
and Eric, if you remember that same game, there's a lot of people was already trickling out of the arena and they
They couldn't
locked the
get back
doors
in.
on
They were already outside. And the building, you couldn't come back into the building after you left.
That's crazy.
So they
So
missed
with Cleveland
overtime.
having all these amazing players throughout their franchise history, if you and bringing it back to them, what three would you name again? I know you said LeBron and you said Doherty, I believe. Is
No,
there any?
Boogie Bob said Doherty. I said
Okay,
I
come
said
on.
LeBron, Kyrie, and I
hmm
said Kevin Love.
Kevin Love. And then what? Am I correct me if I'm wrong? Didn't Kevin Love get drafted by Minnesota?
I
Yeah,
believe so.
yes. They traded Anthony Bennett, the first number one
Yeah,
pick,
Anthony Bennett.
to get to get Kevin Love,
Yeah,
and they traded some other young talent along with it. But they got the first pick 3 years in a row.
yes, they did.
Gotcha. And Larry Nance, Hot Rod Williams, Tristan Thompson, Donovan Mitchell. There's been a lot of great players that
Yeah,
come through there and
Oh
be
yeah,
great, man.
current. If you're talking current day Cleveland, Evan Mobley is going to have to be up there.
I like
Yeah.
Evan Mobley,
Evan Mobley is a beast. And Jared Allen, too. Them two
Jared
combined.
Allen. I like Darius Garland. I like Donovan Mitchell. That team has a chance this year. I think it's them and New York in the East because of the injuries to Boston and to the Pacers. I would definitely put New York and Cleveland up there.
Yeah, because Boston no longer has a point guard that they can really rely on because Drew Holiday is in Portland now.
Yes, they still have Derek White.
Who's pretty good.
He's really good.
He's decent, but he's pretty much almost past his prime.
Yeah, and now Tatum's going to be out for probably the whole year. So
Yeah.
Jalen Brown, you're going to have to run everything through Jalen Brown.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say too, and we could probably do this on another podcast when we get you back on. We got to talk about these anomalies when it comes to these Achilles tendon, man. I think it's more so the shoes, and some scientists were saying that it's because some players just play one sport, but in order to play what you're playing, you got to play multiple sports, so
Yeah,
it gives your body the dexterity it needs to overcome and compensate when you cut and move the way you do in basketball.
right. And
Yeah,
I've seen that
there
video.
was eight. There was eight Achilles tears
Yeah,
this year, three in the playoffs, and the last three were when they took the step backward
yeah. False
and
step.
extended.
Yeah,
They extended the calf muscle and Achilles so far when they took that step to put it in a position that it's going to be prone to snap.
right.
Mm.
I think Boogie Bob you're right. That false step where people take the step back and then try to get all of their momentum at full speed on the very next step. That's always going to be too much torque on that
Yeah.
Achilles.
Mm,
It it's similar to the position that you see a track star do when they
Yeah,
come out of the gate,
out of the
but
blocks.
they have a metal bar that's at an
Mm,
angle that they can push off of. They accelerate.
right,
And but the basketball players, that foot is flat, and so that Achilles, your foot's like this, that Achilles is stretched like this, and
right,
then it's trying to accelerate that way when it's like taking a rubber band and pulling it to its weakest point and then trying to accelerate it even further.
right.
that's
So,
crazy.
a lot of these, they say it's a calf strain, and there was a lot published about that calf strain are uh, can be a contributor to the Achilles because the calf and Achilles actually come together
Yeah.
at the bottom.
And people don't realize a strain is a slight tear already. So
Yeah,
if
Hmm.
you have a slight tear of your calf and the very next muscle is the Achilles, like you're putting your Achilles in danger already if you try to play on it.
yeah. So they when they do an MRI, they talk about a grade 1, grade 2, and a grade 3. Grade 1's the least. So when you got a grade 1 sprain, it isn't like spraining your ankle. When you sprain your calf, it can't respond. So like Earl just said, the next biggest muscle. That's why you're seeing when people pull a hamstring, they pull a quad as well.
Yeah, yeah. So, Earl, anything else you can add to the legacy of the Cleveland Cavaliers, man, throughout the years?
Um, I just think they are a franchise that kind of fits their city. Their city is a very blue collar city. So if you are a hardworking team that kind of gets it out of the mud, whether that be the NBA team or the Cleveland Browns, the NFL team, the fans are going to love you there. If you're kind of grimy, you play hard, not necessarily do it finesse. You do it just kind of workers, uh, like you have a workman style of how you go about your business. You're going to do really well in the city of Cleveland.
Facts, facts.
And
Guys,
I
thank you
have
so.
one question for
Yeah,
Earl.
yeah.
So if I were to put LeBron in Mount Rushmore, it would probably be Cleveland. But if you had to choose one player, a statue, uh, where is LeBron's statue going to be? Is it going to be Miami, LA, or Cleveland?
You're gonna have two.
You can only choose one.
If,
Uh,
if
Where do you put a LeBron statue?
Miami LeBron was a different LeBron, I've got to go Miami. I
yeah,
understand what he did in terms of bringing the championship to Cleveland, but in terms of personal, individual accolades, LeBron was a different beast in Miami.
yeah.
I've got to say Miami. I don't think he gets a statue currently in LA unless he brings another championship to LA. I don't think he gets I don't think he gets the Kobe treatment and gets two numbers retired in LA. I know he won a championship at number 6 in the bubble, but I don't think he gets 6 and 23, even though he broke the scoring record at 23. I think they're going to have to choose between 6 and 23 for LeBron.
Mm,
Yeah, no,
Kobe,
they can retire six because it's
yeah,
retired league wide.
Bill Russell. Yeah, Bill
Yeah,
Russell. But I mean, if you look at Kobe's individual stats, his numbers at 8 and his numbers at 24, they're basically the same. So like it made sense to give him 8 and 24 retired. I don't
yeah,
yeah,
think
he played 10 years with both numbers.
right.
yeah.
I don't think you can do that with 6 and 23.
Nah.
So you don't think Cleveland would put a LeBron statue up?
I think Dan Gilbert would have to really work through some things because you remember the letter that he wrote about LeBron when LeBron
Yeah,
left. Like, that's not easy to rebuild that relationship. I think they've started to rebuild it. And I think eventually LeBron does get a statue in Cleveland, but I think he gets one in Miami before he gets one in Cleveland.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Man, these conversations tonight were awesome. Earl, thanks for coming on. We're about to close out. Man,
Always.
I've had a great time. Man, this has been fun. It
It always is.
I could stop smiling because everything we talked about was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Boogie Bob, man, so let the people know where you can be found social media wise and give me your handles and kind of close out for us, man.
Well, you can find me on Boogie Bob, but more importantly, you can find me on Swish for real up
Just for
there,
real.
up there in the corner above Earl's head. Swish for real. Subscribe, like, comment. We
Yes,
like all the
sir.
comments.
And y'all, please follow Boogie Bob, man. He got a great following. He's growing, and just make sure y'all say, hey, you found him on Swish for Real, and then you follow him on Boogie Bob YouTube channel, man. So he's a good dude, man. The stats are there for you. Earl, man, let the people know. Thank you again, man, for coming on. We appreciate you,
Yeah.
man. It's been a blessing. Tell the people where they can find you on these social media streets, man, to give you handles so they can catch up with you.
Anytime at Earl K Sneed on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and also I'm not going to break any news now. I just recently signed a new contract, so I've got some fire coming up in this next NBA season. I haven't gotten my official start date, but I've got some stuff coming up next season or this season
Hey,
coming up. So
hey,
you're going to
man,
want to
that's
follow
love.
me.
That's love. That's love.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Man, congratulations, bro.
Thank you.
I'm super
Appreciate
happy for
that.
you, man. And whatever we can do for you, let us know. We here for you. You've been a
Always.
great guy, man. I appreciate you. Any anything else other than that?
Just to make sure you follow me on my socials. I'm going to be a lot more active as we get closer to the season, just because, like I said, I'm going to start some work again covering the NBA this upcoming season.
Salute, man. Salute. And guys, if you want to check me out, you can check me out, Mikkel Lampkin, Poet Dash Director on YouTube, also, and on X. You can check out my short film called American Standoff. It's growing. We almost got 1,000 views on it. So if you see this, man, check it out. Give a like and just comment that I know you've seen it. And always switch for real, man, because we are always here talking NBA. We're trying to get some of the greatest people on. Earl K. Sneed is one. He's been blessing us. This is the third time we're gonna get you, man. I'm so excited about it. I don't know. I'm tripping.
That's it,
Earl, thank you, man, guys. Switch for real. We're closing out. Have a great weekend. I'm giving you guys your weekend back. Peace.
All right. Appreciate it.